and they had already added Tony Kukoc, and they needed to replace essentially Horace Grant, who served that power forward role in the first three-peat.
Stephen A. Smith's garage is at the center of a storm. Whispers of concealed evidence and secret finds ignited when the FBI reportedly got involved. What they uncovered isn't just another celebrity tale. It's a web of intrigue, law, and surprises. And I've got the details they're not showing you. Why the silence on Stephen A. Smith? Whenever a dramatic claim surfaces, such as the notion that the Federal Bureau of Investigation, FBI, might have conducted a search of Stephen A. Smith's property, the immediate question that arises is, if this happened, where is the evidence? On the surface, the lack of mainstream media coverage, official announcements, or public court filings might seem to indicate that nothing occurred. However, the absence of documentation does not automatically disprove the possibility. In many federal investigations, search warrants and their supporting affidavits are often sealed by the courts to protect the integrity of ongoing operations, safeguard confidential informants, or prevent the premature disclosure of sensitive intelligence. Until these records are officially unsealed, neither journalists nor the general public can confirm whether a search or seizure actually took place.
I think, again, my interpretation of what happened, my analysis is, I think he realized at a certain point, they're not going to make me take a partner. Why should I take a partner?
Stephen A. Smith, as a high-profile media personality with a massive audience and a constant public presence, would seem like someone whose involvement in any FBI action would inevitably attract attention. Yet, even with someone so visible, leaks are far from guaranteed. Authorities often exercise extreme discretion, particularly in situations involving ongoing investigations, sensitive witnesses, or potential legal strategy. That discretion can explain a prolonged public silence. This lack of information naturally fosters speculation. Observers who are predisposed to believe such claims may point to the absence of reporting not as evidence of nothing happening, but as consistent with deliberate secrecy. Historically, the FBI and other federal agencies have conducted searches of individuals under conditions of high confidentiality, especially when powerful figures are involved, precisely to prevent interference or alerting of third parties. Therefore, even without public records or media confirmation, the notion that Stephen A. Smith's property could have been searched remains within the realm of possibility. That very uncertainty, the gap between what is known and what might be hidden, is what allows rumors about Smith and potential covert FBI activity to persist, drawing attention and speculation from curious audiences. Precedent of sealed or delayed notice actions. Why Smith could be involved. The FBI, along with other federal law enforcement agencies, has a long-standing history of employing covert investigative measures when circumstances require discretion. These measures include sealed search warrants, delayed notice or sneak and peek raids, and other forms of judicially authorized investigations that remain hidden from public view for extended periods. Such tools are typically employed to maintain the integrity of ongoing investigations, prevent tipping off potential subjects, and protect the safety of informants or witnesses. This history establishes that targeting a private individual, even one with high visibility like Stephen A. Smith, falls well within the established practices of federal law enforcement.
That's like me asking, do you want to watch the Boston Celtics? Come on, man. You know better. You know better.
Assuming, hypothetically, that Stephen A. Smith's name somehow came onto the FBI's radar, whether through an indirect tip, association with a broader investigation, or some other form of suspicion, it would not be unusual for authorities to consider a sealed or delayed notice approach. By executing a search under strict confidentiality, the FBI ensures that any ongoing probe is not compromised, and that legal strategy can proceed without alerting subjects or third parties. Once carried out under seal, there may be no immediate public acknowledgement, leaving months or even years without reporting until prosecutors decide whether to press charges or a court unseals the relevant documents. Because this is consistent with known FBI practices, speculation naturally arises. Some observers argue that it is not inherently unreasonable to entertain the notion that something may have happened to Stephen A. Smith, but we simply do not know yet. Silence in this context is not proof of absence, but a procedural outcome that aligns with historical precedent. In other words, the very practices of secrecy, delayed notification, and controlled disclosure make it plausible, at least theoretically, that an FBI search or investigation could have occurred, keeping rumors about Smith's garage alive despite the lack of public evidence. Reading between the lines, indirect clues around Stephen A. Smith. In the absence of direct evidence, people often look for indirect or circumstantial signs, small changes around a person's public behavior, unusual absences, sudden silence, or odd scheduling shifts to justify speculation. In the case of Stephen A. Smith, his prominence amplifies any such perceived anomalies. A delayed show appearance, uncharacteristic social media absence, a sudden hush from his usual outspoken commentary.
And it ain't just ESPN, it's SiriusXM, it's my own brand, okay? I'm never gonna do anything like that. I'm gonna always make sure I maintain professionalism.
If someone believed the rumor of a raid, whether grounded or not, they might interpret even mundane events as circumstantial clues. For instance, if Smith avoids public commentary for a few days or delays a scheduled segment, observers might speculate, maybe this is because legal pressure or an ongoing investigation rather than a simple personal or scheduling reason. Human psychology tends to seek patterns, especially when a sensational narrative is already in play. Such reading between the lines doesn't constitute proof. It's speculation built on absence, not presence, but that often fuels belief. In a media environment saturated with sensational rumors, even thin context can trigger broader suspicions. And because Stephen A. Smith draws attention, he's a known public figure, these speculative inferences may gain traction more easily than they would for a private individual. Leaks, anonymous tips, and whistleblower. Potential. One reason speculators keep rumors about Stephen A. Smith alive is that sometimes, in high-profile investigations, initial secrecy gives way to leaks, whistleblowers, or legal documents released later. In many famous cases, what began as sealed warrants or hidden raids eventually emerged via newsworthy leaks, often years after the fact.
Could I be cool with all the players that I've been cool with all of these years if I would ever do something like that? Now you getting into my character, cause you pissed off?
If hypothetically the FBI did investigate Smith or search his property, but sealed all related documents, there is always a possibility that someone, an informant, a cooperating witness, or even a disgruntled party, could come forward. Alternatively, legal proceedings might eventually force unsealing of court records, or investigative journalists could dig up credible evidence, culminating in public disclosure. Because that possibility exists, some observers view current silence as simply a temporary state, not a final verdict. For them, time may reveal more. Given Stephen A. Smith's public visibility, legal drama involving him would likely draw intense media interest. This expectation, that if something happened, it may eventually leak out, serves as a justification for why rumors persist. It keeps the door open for eventual confirmation, which can be compelling for those inclined to believe the claim. What could have triggered it? If one is entertaining the possibility that FBI might have searched Stephen A. Smith's garage or otherwise investigated him, a natural question becomes, why him? What could have prompted such interest? When someone is a high-profile media figure like SAS, widely known, polarizing, often involved in commentary around legal, social, or controversial topics, that by itself might raise their visibility to law enforcement scrutiny, legitimate or speculative.
Everybody knows that about me. I'm not hiding. If I'm wrong, I'll say I'm wrong. And if I did something wrong publicly, I'll apologize publicly.
In a hypothetical scenario, the FBI might be investigating a broader case, organized crime, corruption, illicit financial activity, or other wrongdoing, in which SAS is tangentially or allegedly connected, whether through a source tip, a third-party link, or alleged involvement. Because SAS's public commentary frequently intersects with contentious issues, sports law, institutional controversy, societal debates, some might argue that these connections, or even mere suspicion, could trigger interest. If investigators believe there was credible reason, even circumstantial, to suspect involvement, they might seek a warrant. Given the high stakes, they might opt for a covert warrant, see below, rather than a publicized raid, especially if they want to avoid alerting potential co-conspirators or compromising ongoing investigations. Under that reasoning, assuming motive or suspicion isn't far-fetched. And for people inclined to believe the rumor, identifying a plausible why, even speculative, lends weight to the possibility that something could have happened involving Stephen A. Smith. Legal tools exist. The sneak and peek warrant framework could apply to anyone. One important structural fact: U.S. law enforcement does have broadly applicable legal tools that allow covert searches under certain conditions. Under the authority of the legislation originally codified in USA Patriot Act, Section 213, and related statutes governing delayed notice warrants, agencies like the FBI can execute what are commonly called sneak and peek warrants. That means entering a residence or property without notifying the occupant immediately, conducting searches or even surveillance, and delaying notice for a period, sometimes extended for months.
But make no mistake about it, when I say that I'm a conscientious observer, that I'm an American citizen, that I'm just somebody who cares.
Historically, this kind of warrant has been used not only in terror-related cases, but also in various ordinary criminal investigations, drug cases, organized crime, fraud, etc. The use of delayed notification or unannounced searches has increased since the early 2000s, which demonstrates that these aren't rare edge cases. They are part of standard legal enforcement tools. Thus, from a purely legal structural perspective, regardless of who the person is, a high-profile individual like Stephen A. Smith could be subject to such a warrant if investigators deem the situation meets probable cause and other requirements. The existence of this legal framework means that the garage rumor isn't impossible purely on procedural grounds. Legally, covert warrants are valid. That opens a door. Even with no public announcement or media coverage, it remains theoretically possible that the FBI could have conducted a discreet search, which helps explain why some people might believe the rumor persists. Maybe it's coming finally. Even if nothing is publicly known now about any FBI action involving Stephen A. Smith, history shows that many high-profile investigations initially proceed in secrecy, only to surface later via leaks, whistleblowers, dropped or refiled charges, or unsealed court documents. The fact that such outcomes have happened in other cases makes speculation about a pending reveal more plausible for some observers.
Everybody called me. Nah, Stephen A. Nah, Stephen A. That's wrong, Stephen A. I would like this. Cool. I would like to remind y'all I had been being attacked for 3 months. I said nothing.
For example, although not involving Smith, there have been instances where the FBI executed covert search warrants, then years later either unsealed the records or the subject became aware of the investigation only after court filings or media exposure. In such cases, the initial secrecy was maintained for investigative integrity or privacy concerns. Because Stephen A. Smith remains a public figure, if any such information emerges, newly unsealed warrants, insider leaks, legal filings, it would likely attract intense scrutiny and coverage. For those inclined to believe a search may have occurred, this future possibility becomes a strong motivation to keep the rumor alive and monitor developments. In short, absence of evidence today doesn't necessarily preclude evidence tomorrow. The potential for delayed disclosure because of legal processes, whistleblowers, or changing investigative circumstances means that, for some, the possibility remains open that the truth might still come out. The FBI's alleged discoveries in Stephen A. Smith's garage have raised eyebrows across media and legal circles. Whether it involves concealed evidence or unexpected connections, the potential fallout could reshape public perception. As details continue to surface, they might challenge everything we assumed about Smith, his professional world, and the network surrounding him. Keep watching. This story is just getting started.